So I call this meeting on October 31st of the Budget and Finance Committee to order, and we will start with Resolution RS 2016-412. It approves an economic development incentive grant agreement between Metro and the Country Music Film Project. So with that being on the floor, is there a move? Is there a second? A second. Is there discussion? Yes, I see Councilman Glover.
Yeah, just real quickly, I've read the analysis, but just trying to understand, can somebody from the administration just, what exactly are we doing here? I was trying to follow it, and just, what is this, the very first one?
Sorry, Director, thank you.
Councilman, this is the appropriation that has already been approved in the budget for the project, the Ken Burns documentary.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Okay. Thanks, Chair.
All right. Thank you. Any further discussion? Any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? The motion is passed. Resolution 2016-413 appropriates $30,000 through a grant contract with the Oasis Center, Incorporated, to provide services in the Crisis and Residential Services, Youth Engagement and Action, and the Oasis College Connection. Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no request for discussion, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The motion passes. The resolution, RS 2016-414, approves a grant from Oasis Center to the Metro Juvenile Court for the Tennessee Wyman's Teen Outreach Program to decrease risky behaviors and increase life skills among youth for the amount of $5,000. Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? On to Resolution RS 2016-415 approves a grant from the Tennessee Administrative Office of the Courts to Metro Juvenile Court to provide mediation services for low-income and indigent self-represented litigants with child access and visitation issues in juvenile court at off-site locations. Is there a motion? Moved and seconded, and Councilman Mendez.
Thanks. If possible, could we have Judge Callaway tell us a little bit about this?
Yes.
You mean Princess Callaway?
Good afternoon, Council.
Judge, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Mendez, for the request, and thank you also, Chair Cooper. It's a joy to be here today. I just want you all to know that after you finish your meeting, please come and join us down at Juvenile Court. We are having our 3rd annual Spooktacular Fun Festival, so we'll have a courthouse decorated and full of children and costumes and candy galore. So please come and join us, and we will be happy to assist you and walk you around the courthouse. As to the Access to Visitation Grant, we have found now that we are working our Parent Assistance Court that our numbers of parents who are needing assistance in developing parenting plan has definitely increased. We are working hand in hand with the National Conflict Resolution Center, and they are doing a lot of our mediations and doing a lot of work to help to come up with parenting plans for our families. We're finding that we need more. And so this grant that's run through the AOC would be one to help us to achieve that. What we're going to do is run it through one of our community courts that we have. We partner with Child Support Services, and we have court once a month. And we would be asking for volunteer mediators with this fund of money. It's a very small amount of money that we'd be paying them with this fund from the AOC, but it's going to help us to increase services for the families that are looking to develop parenting plans and work together in raising their children.
Thanks, Judge Callaway. Thanks for all that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And again, you all are more than welcome to come down. We're closing the doors at 6:30, but we'll be there from 4 to 6:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. And Council Lady Weiner.
I know you want to get back at 4 o'clock, but I have one quick question. Is that okay, Chair?
Oh, yes.
So what is the level of engagement with the Family Center? You know, the Exchange Club Family Center out on Thompson Lane?
Yes, we do engage with them as well. Not as often as we used to. Before, they did a lot of our supervised visitation. They did a lot of that things. They have moved away from doing that as much. They don't do the supervised visits. They do more of the parenting classes. We definitely participate with them with our parenting classes and other things that they offer, but they don't do as much as they used to do therapeutic visits. They don't do those anymore. So
Okay, cool.
whatever they do, we do use them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And also, I meant to introduce our policy director, Ms. Shelley Hudson, is here with me as well. She works on our policies and our grants as well. So if there's any other questions, she may be able to answer as well.
Are you in costume?
Actually, country girl. I just left my straw hat at the.
We're all in costume. Come on down.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Chair.
Seeing no one else in the queue, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, the resolution passes. On to Resolution 2016-416, approves a port security grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to the Metro Office of Emergency Management to mitigate an equipment shortfall by adding one National Incident Management System response package for radiological nuclear detection. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? The resolution passes. On to Resolution RS 2016-417, approves an application for the 2016 Homeland Security Grant from the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency to Metro Government for Homeland Security Preparedness activities. Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye. All opposed, the motion passes. On to Resolution RS 2016-418, approves a grant from the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security to the state trial courts to undertake alcohol countermeasures, highway safety projects. Is there a motion? Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. The resolution is passed. Resolution RS 2016-419 approves an amendment to a grant from the Tennessee Department of Finance and Administration to the Metro Nashville Police Department to support the provision of mental health services and criminal justice system advocacy to victims of violent crime. Is there a motion? Moved and seconded. And Council Lady Gilmore.
Thank you, Chair Cooper. Is there anyone here that could just speak a little bit more to it?
Yes. If you would come to the microphone, officer. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Lieutenant Jim Stevens. I'm with the Strategic Development Division of the Police Department. We manage most of the grants that come through the police department. Basically what this is, it's the second amendment to the VOCA grant, the Victims of Crime Assistance Grant, and it as I understand, is an addition. It adds an additional $25,000, but there's also a couple of things in there that change the way our reporting is done to the state, just to be consistent with some of the other grants.
So what will the $25,000 be used for? I'm sorry, I missed it.
It's the majority of the grant is used for victim assistance, counselors, victims of crime, things like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. Seeing no further people in the queue, all in favor say aye. All opposed, the resolution is passed. Resolution RS 2016-420 appropriates $250,000 through a grant contract between Metro and the Nashville Public Library with the Oasis Center Incorporated to provide college access services for the Nashville Scholars Program. Is there a motion? Move approval. Second. In discussion, Council Lady Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is someone here to speak in more detail about this as well?
Yes. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Angela McElrath-Prosser with the Public Library. This is part of the College Connection Program to help the high schoolers in Nashville Scholars proceed on and get access to applying for college and things like that. It's part of the funding we receive for the NASA After School Zone program.
So is it more one-on-one? Do they do it in group? Are they assigned
Well, actually,
counselors?
It's a minimum of 2 in-person visits. It's kind of in one-on-one, helping them fill out applications, helping them see where the funding is, trying to get some grants, that kind of thing.
And do you track the students that you assist to see how many were successful in receiving those grants or scholarships?
I'm sure the NASA program does. I have not seen those numbers, but I can get them for you.
Okay, that would be helpful. And so is it only at the NASA locations, or
I
are they
believe it's at the school locations. I'll have to check on that as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be helpful just to see what locations are the designated ones. And
Okay, I can do that.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? The resolution passes. Resolution RS 2016-421 approves a grant from Tennessee Women's Suffrage Monument, Incorporated, to the Metro Board of Parks and Recreation for the reimbursement of costs associated with the temporary and permanent installation of the Tennessee Women's Suffrage Monument in Centennial Park. There a motion and a second in discussion, and Council Lady Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there someone here to speak on it?
Thank you.
Monique Odom, Deputy Director of Parks.
So if you could just kind of give us an update, I think it's really exciting. We know that the women raised the money personally and that it was a temporary site. Maybe just, where the permanent site is, what are we reimbursing for, that would be good.
It is a temporary site, and that was a part of the monument has been dedicated, and everything specific to the monument will be reimbursed to the Parks Department by the Tennessee Women's Suffrage Movement. And so you know that there's I'm sure you do know, that there's a Centennial Park Master Plan underway, and we will take care of all of the costs associated with what we had already designed there, and they're reimbursing us for the permanent, for the temporary space where it is now, and then the permanent location.
Okay, and maybe you can share with the viewing audience, it's still going to be in the Parthenon, right?
It will be in Centennial Park.
But just maybe explain to them, where will it be? It's my understanding it'll be to the, I don't know, but it might have changed like a little bit to the right, more in that parking lot area of the Parthenon?
It will be to the north, to the east of the park, of where it is now.
Okay, thank you, and we appreciate it. And I just think it's important for the listening audience to know, because I think some people wanted it to be at the state, and just to know that they felt that was appropriate area, but that the parks was just very kind and accepted it and finding a location.
Thank you, and it will still have a very prominent place in Centennial Park.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor say aye. All opposed? The resolution passes. Resolution RS 2016-422 accepts a grant from the Friends of Shelby Park and Bottoms to the Metro Parks and Recreation Department to provide funding for a drinking fountain at the Cornelia Fort Trailhead. Move approval and seconded, and discussion, Councilman Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to thank our Friends of Shelby Park and Shelby Bottoms group that worked so hard to bring people to the park and also to do fundraising activities. This particular funding request was made possible through the Cornelia Fort Pickin' parties that have been going on for a while, and really would like to thank the many individuals and local businesses who helped us sponsor that event, and all of our neighbors who volunteered at it and came out and supported the event to raise this money for the park. And appreciate everyone's support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? All opposed? The resolution passes. Resolution RS 2016-423 appropriates funds from the United States Department of Health and Human Services to the Metro Action Commission to support the Head Start and Early Head Start programs. Is there a motion? Moved and seconded, and discussion, and Council Lady Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm the Chair of Health and Hospitals, so I saw that we have the wonderful Director, Ms. Cynthia Crooms, in the audience, and she always has a wonderful report and can provide more insight for us. So I would appreciate her.
Thank you. That was very kind of you to say that. The federal government has increased their requirements to us in terms of outcomes for children, and so they've provided additional funding to help us with the collection of data, and so a portion of it is being used for that. We also have a portion that they gave us for cost of living for non-teaching staff to offset the dollars that this government gave to our staff. So the federal dollars that we're given will be used to kind of help offset those funds. That's what it's for.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chair. That's wonderful. And then, Ms. Crooms, maybe you could explain, because the workers, is it the employees are not covered under Metro? So when everyone got the raises, is that true or not true? And that's why those federal
Well, they were
funds-
covered under the 3.1%. They were not covered under the additional funding. And so we knew we were getting about a 1.8% cost of living, but it was specifically for non-teaching staff. And so Metro gave us a portion, and the federal government made up the rest of the amount so that all of the staff would receive something.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Council Lady. Seeing no one else in the queue, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? The resolution is passed. Resolution RS 2016-424 approves a contract between the Metro Board of Health and the Nashville Academy of Medicine to provide access to the Charisma Salis database system for patient tracking and prescription tracking. Is there a motion? Move approval and seconded, and Council Lady Weiner is recognized.
I would appreciate it if Mr. Sharp would come share with us the value of patient and prescription tracking, please.
Thank you, Council Lady. Mr. Sharp.
Thank you, ma'am. The pharmacy portion of the Project Access program is in the health department. We have a small pharmacy at Lentz, and most of this is for diabetes and blood pressure medication, specific to the pharmacy. Most of it is for connection to specialty care, most of the program largely.
So have we not been tracking this?
We have. We're changing the vendor, the contract.
What is it about this new vendor that offers, what else will we be able to learn from this?
I think the idea is the same. We think this will be a little bit more effective. This is pretty much a state-of-the-art program, and it's designed for project access type of work, and we believe this will be a better program than the one we've been using.
Okay, this may be a digression, but it may tie back in. The mental health co-op takes a lot of the patients, and they administer meds to some of our patients. Does the health department handle any of those same type patients? Do we send any of our patients over to mental health co-op? Is there any overlap?
They're working on trying to knit together a little bit better system for referral and treatment and so forth for the mental health system. Right now we do some, not a whole lot, but this is really mostly for folks who access the medical system at one of the FQHCs, the Federally Qualified Health Centers, Matthew Walker, United Neighborhood Health, who need specialty care. And there are almost 1,000 specialty care providers in the community, and this helps connect those dots and keep track of the patient's needs and of the hours that are volunteered, both on the provider level and the facility level.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Council Lady. Seeing no further requests for discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye, and the resolution passes. On to Resolution RS 2016-426, approves an amendment to a parking agreement between Metro Government and Stallman Redevelopment Partners, LLC, for the use of parking spaces in the courthouse parking garage, and to extend the expiration of the term of that agreement from 2046 to 2053. Is there a motion? Moved and seconded, and any discussion? Council Lady Henderson.
I was just interested from the Metro Finance perspective, how much are we pricing out the value of each parking space in that garage? Per space? Do we do it on a per space basis?
Yeah. There's not really. Yeah. Whatever the going rate that's at that parking garage is the amount for the fees.
Okay, so it's related to solely the actual parking fee over time? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. Council Lady Gilmore.
Mr. Chair, mine is not related to this one, but after we take this particular resolution up, I want to bring something forth to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Yes, indeed. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for recognizing me. I think for the benefit of this committee and having spoken to some of the parties involved in the transaction that resulted in this resolution, I might actually seek some clarification from Mr. Jameson regarding which, my understanding is most of this is actually continuation of existing rights being transferred. Can you clarify that for me, please?
Right. The Stallman Partners wanted an assignment to an entity now known as Stallman Nashville LLC. So that's the underlying intent of the resolution. There is a reference to an extension to 2053. That was, I guess, technically achieved in 2013, but we're implementing that same date of 2053 in this resolution.
Right. So it's not a creation of new rights or entitlements. It is just an extension of that. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Council Lady, shall we go ahead and vote on this resolution and then come back to your point? All right. With no further speakers in the queue, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The resolution passes, and then we'll come back to Council Lady Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted, even though it's not on the Budget and Finance agenda, I thought a Resolution 2016-406, it has been before the Health and Hospitals. I do feel that it has a budgetary impact, which is the resolution which allows the exemption of motor vehicles registered in Davidson County and the exemption of for models that are 3 years or less. And so I just wanted Mr. Sharp to kind of speak to the Budget and Finance Committee about that. And I didn't know if any of the Budget and Finance Committee may have questions. It came before the Health and Hospital, and we did have quite a bit of discussion about it. And it will have a budgetary impact, because if it's exempted, we wouldn't have the revenue that we had at one time.
So your request is to have Mr. Sharp speak to 406.
Yes.
Which will be on the agenda tomorrow night.
Right.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Sharp.
Mr. Chairman, in discussions with the mayor's office and finance department, I believe the proposal at this point is to defer that again in the health committee and put it in the process so it will come to this committee for proper review, because it does have a budget implication.
Could he go ahead and speak to it right now? If he could just speak to the discussions we had in Health and Hospitals, I think that would be great.
To apprise the Budget and Finance Committee of the non-financial aspects of the legislation?
Yeah, the financial aspects.
Oh, the financial aspects.
If it does come, the Budget and Finance Committee would be prepared.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sharp? Yes, Council Lady Weiner?
I hate to be the bad voice in the room, but we don't have anything on the floor. Shouldn't we wait until we have something on the floor? Mr. Jameson, we don't have anything on the floor.
Right. You won't be taking action on it, so the notification provisions aren't the same for purposes of simply discussion.
Yeah, it's just discussion, because we've discussed it, and actually, I think this is really more transparent, because we're not taking action, but we've discussed it in Health and Hospitals, and it just has not been discussed. And I haven't received any information. Maybe someone else saw that was going to be deferred. I haven't seen that.
Well, the only thing I wanted to bring up is if it's going to be deferred so that it can be re-referred back to Budget and Finance, we'll have the opportunity to discuss it. Am I wrong?
That's correct.
Okay.
Well, I think we need to verify it. So I would say point of order on that. If the mayor's office can verify it, that's fine. But we're taking a point of order, and I haven't heard anything about a deferral.
Council Lady Gilmore, the intention was to defer it, and we meant to touch base with you. Unfortunately, me for finance, so Zach, as you know, is out today, and so we weren't able to get a hold of you, and I'm unfortunately telling you that now.
Okay, that's okay. But just as the chair, I had not heard that. And so I think it's important that we stay abreast and remain transparent, and that's fine if we want to defer it, but it is a budgetary item, and it needs to go before the Budget and Finance Committee.
So in conclusion, Mr. Sharp, I guess we're expecting you to come back next time.
I'd be happy to be here, sir.
And then have a robust discussion of 406.
Yes, sir. Okay. I think that's the plan.
All right. Thank you. And then Council Lady Weiner, I wanted to make sure that you're all set. Okay. I had a quick note on the previous resolution 426 that I've asked for a report on to be presented to this committee on downtown parking pricing operators, future amounts of spaces that'll be hopefully coming out in the next month. We're on to BL 2016-433, approves the transfer of the franchise rights held by the Nashville Data Link LLC to Windstream KDL LLC. This is a bill on second reading. Is there a motion? Move approval and a motion for a second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Aye. Say aye. All opposed? All right. Also, bill on second reading is BL 2016-456, authorizes the acceptance of property located at 0 Wedgwood Avenue from the Metro Development and Housing Agency to Metro, and there's a letter for approval from the sponsor, Councilman Sledge. Move approval and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? This motion, this bill passes on second reading, which takes us to BL 2016-458, approves an amendment to a lease agreement between the Department of Parks and Recreation and Belmont University. The sponsor has left a letter here for approval, and is there a motion? A motion and a second. And Council Lady Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just hoping someone could speak a little bit more about this agreement and what it does.
Yes, here is a representative from Parks.
Monique Odom, Deputy Parks Director. This is only to amend the existing contract between Belmont and Metro Parks for the center there at Easley Community Center. The agreement with Belmont is that they give an annual contribution to the PTO of the two schools directly linked to that community center, Carter Lawrence School and Rose Park School. This amendment only allows for the school itself to receive the donation should the PTO be dissolved. That was the case at one point at Carter Lawrence Elementary. The PTO had been dissolved, and so this amendment allows the stipulation that the contribution can also go to the school rather than directly to the PTO.
Very good. Thank you so much. And how much is it?
It's 20% of, it increases every year, so it's about $10,000 for each organization. The Parks gets a donation as well. Started off as a $50,000 donation. It has a 3% escalation every year. So the PTOs of those two schools split it with the Easley Park Community Center.
Thank you. And we were also, does it go to the students directly, or is it for capital improvements, that donation?
Which one, for the PTO?
The one that we're amending. You said it will not go to the PTO?
It can go to the it will go to the PTO, but this amendment also will allow it to go to the school for use, for the students, for the school's use.
So I guess we're trying to make sure that it is restricted exclusively to the students. We think it's good, but we want to make sure that it's used directly for the students and not for capital improvements or anything of.
I can't speak to that as far as the school, but I'll be glad to check into that. The donation that comes to the Parks Department is used directly for programming at Easley Community Center.
Okay, very good. And then I had one more follow-up question. We were supposed to get reports, and maybe we still get them each year because of that agreement. Mm-hmm. So what time of the year do we look for those reports, just about the update between Belmont and Parks?
It should have been in August, and you did not receive that?
I don't recall. I'm not saying that I just don't recall.
Okay. I will follow up on it in the morning and make sure you get that.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Council Lady Henderson.
Ms. Odom?
Ms. Odom? Ms. Odom? Ms. Odom, we have another question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
I was going to ask, I understand the removal of the reference to the PTOs if those were to be dissolved. But I wonder with both, so is the language, I apologize, for PTO is completely removed, but yet it still can go to the PTO, and at whose discretion, who makes the decision about where it goes?
It should go to the PTO based on the original agreement. The intent of the amendment is to allow it to go, the donation to go to the school if there is not a PTO.
Okay.
Excuse me, so priority would be to the PTO.
Okay, and then it's just the leadership of the PTO votes as to how to use that? That's at their discretion?
As far as I understand.
Okay. And I apologize, is there attached to this more of the details of this agreement? And is that, do we have that anywhere else in Metro? I know the partnership with Belmont's was unique at the time.
Yeah,
but is
the original contract is attached to the original legislation.
Okay.
And I can send that to you if you would like me to.
I'd be interested in seeing that, Mr. Jameson, or if we could. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Council Lady Henderson. Council Lady Vercher.
Thank you, Chair. I don't want to belabor the point, but the understanding that I have as it relates to the PTOs is that the option as to whether it goes to the PTO or the school is in there as a contingency in the event there are some issues with the PTOs. And being involved in the Parent Advisory Council, I can tell you that some schools' PTOs are more active than others. Some end up being inactive from year to year. So I believe that amendment, I don't want to speak for parks, but my understanding is that this is just simply a contingency for this.
Okay. Thank you, Council Lady. Parks, would you like to have a response?
That's correct. She's accurate. It's just a contingency. We did have an issue, like I said before, that at one of the participating schools where the PTO had been dissolved or was defunct, and the contract stipulated that the money would only go to the PTO, and so this is just a contingency in those types of situations.
Okay, thank you. Council Lady Vercher, that answers your question. All right, seeing no one else in the queue, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? With that, we stand adjourned, and happy Halloween.